What's up, everyone? Welcome to the video. We're here talking prize picks for week 11 of the NFL season. And what I try to do in these videos is find the best value on prize picks compared to a sports book like DraftKings, which I find to usually offer much sharper lines, or just finding player props that are a little bit too low given the matchups that they have this weekend or the increased opportunity that they should see due to other situations. But anyway, if this is your first time here, what's up? My name is Pennell. I normally break down NASCAR and NFL DFS each and every single week on this channel, but I do like to dabble into the prize pick trades because I live in Florida. I can't legally bet here, but this is kind of my work way around it. I've had an extremely fun time playing on prize picks over the past year now. If you do end up enjoying today's free content, the only thing I ask in return, if you can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit that bell so you know if I whenever I post new content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you want to make fun of me or just tell me something nice, do that in the comment section down below, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. And starting us off with our first prop here, we're looking at the Chicago Bears running back, David Montgomery. We're taking the over on 65.5 yards rushing on prize picks, currently sitting at 66.5 over on the DK Sportsbook, and he's currently minus 120 to hit the over on there. So very small value there, but I think the spot is great. And the situation is great as well because Khalil Herbert is going to be out for this game. He's currently on the IR, and he was taking around 25 to 40% of the snaps, give or take, on certain weeks, which does eat into David Montgomery's workload. With him out of the equation, we're looking at Tristan Ebner, I believe, as the backup, and I can't really see him making as much of an impact as Khalil Herbert did because I don't think they're on the same talent level. So David Montgomery is pretty much going to see just about all the work. Now, he was seeing the majority of the work anyway, but just taking Khalil Herbert out of the equation is definitely going to be big for him. And the opportunity here is pretty good versus this Falcons defense. The Bears are currently sitting with a 24 implied team total. They are 3-point dogs on the road in Atlanta. And while David Montgomery has been very inefficient this season, we're talking 3.8 yards per carry, but that's on an average rushing attempt per game at currently under 13, which I'm expecting 15 plus carries on the ground here for David Montgomery in a plus matchup versus the Falcons, who are currently 25th DVA versus the run, 23rd versus fantasy running backs, and allowing right around 100 rushing yards per game to the position. So Montgomery with no Khalil Herbert, I think this number seems a bit too low in a pretty good matchup versus the Falcons, and the Bears offense in recent weeks has looked pretty good, so the positive momentum at least should work in his favor. And moving on to our second prop here, we are just pretty much picking on the Texans run defense as we do just about every single week, as it seems like these overs hit just about every single time. The past two videos we've had Saquon Barkley and I believe Derrick Henry were the last two we picked on. Obviously two elite level running backs, so this one's a little bit different, but we do have Brian Robinson's rushing prop currently sitting at 63.5 on PrizePicks. I like taking the over. His number is currently at 64.5 on the DK Sportsbook, but currently minus 130 to hit the over there. And while he does split snaps with Antonio Gibson, which can be a little bit annoying and could be worrisome during the game, he still saw 26 carries last week compared to Antonio Gibson sitting at 14. And this matchup is just absolutely incredible. And I should mention they do play both around 50% of the snaps. And Brian Robinson is the main rusher. Antonio Gibson's a bit better in the passing game. And J.D. McKissick is out, so it's pretty much just a two-man show here for Washington. But it's really all about the matchup. The Texans are just absolutely awful versus the run this season. It's no different from seasons past, but they're 31st DVA versus the run this year, 32nd in fantasy points allowed per game to the position, allowing over 150 rushing yards per game, specifically just to running backs. So yeah, I'm liking Brian Robinson here. I know it's not your typical household name here. It's not a Derrick Henry. It's not a Saquon Barkley versus Texans run defense. But the prop's also not at nearly 100 yards like it was for those two. We're talking 63.5. I think Washington should be able to win this game versus the Texans. And if they're playing with a lead, I think there's a decent chance Robinson can see around 20 touches in this game. And if he does, I have a hard time seeing him not get over 70 rushing yards. And before we get into the third pick, I do have to mention, if you are a first-time user over on PrizePicks and you do want to sign up, you can either look in the comment section down below in the pinned comment or the description of this video. And when you do sign up, make sure you use promo code CPEN to get an instant deposit match bonus up to $100. There's no strings attached. It is free money. Use that to your advantage. And while it used to be get 5 out of 5 correct for a 10x payout, PrizePicks is now offering a 6 out of 6 correct pick for a 25x payout. So you can get some insane numbers here. Obviously, if you hit all 6 props, even if you do miss one, you can still get paid out double your money. So make sure to take advantage of that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be trying to do some crazy props this weekend to hit that 6 out of 6 because a 25 bagger is pretty darn awesome. But there's some other things you can do. You don't have to do 6. You can do 2, 3, 4, 5 mans, whatever it may be. But super fun to play on and spread it across every different kind of sport that you want to. It just does not have to be football. But again, if you are a first-time user, make sure you use promo code CPEN when you sign up, and you can help us both out. And moving on to our third prop, we're sticking in the same game here, and actually on the same team, but we're looking at the wide receiver position, and I'm taking the over on Terry McLaurin at 59.5 yards on PrizePicks for the receiving yards. Currently sitting at 61.5 on the DK Sportsbook and is minus 130 on hitting the over here. And the number just seems a bit too low. I'm looking at a 20 career game sample size with Taylor Heinicke, a quarterback for Terry McLaurin. He's actually averaging just under 70 yards per game at 68.6, so a little bit over the prop number here. And in 3 out of the 4 games that Heinicke has started the season for the Washington Commanders, McLaurin has hit the over in 3 out of 4 games. So I'm liking the number here. Now, the Texans aren't as bad versus the pass as they are versus the run, but I think a lot of that's just due to the fact that all you can do is run on this team, and it works quite often, so teams don't have to throw the ball as much. So fantasy point wise per game, they don't look like they're that bad because they are 25th DVA versus the pass, which is obviously not very good, but they're 3rd versus opposing wide receivers, which again, like I said, the pass defense is not as bad, but it's just you can run on these guys so easily, and teams tend to get leads. You don't really throw the ball too much on them. So it's definitely still a beatable matchup for Terry McLaurin and his history with Taylor Heinicke. A little bit too good to pass up, and the talent's obviously there for him, and the number just seems a bit too low. I think this should be in the mid-60s, probably close to 70. We're in the 50s here, albeit 59.5, but I still like taking the over here, and most people do as well. And moving on to our 4th and final prop here, and I do want to mention, if you guys do play DFS, I do offer extra content for that, including projections, optimizers, ownership projections, cheat sheets, data sheets, all that fun stuff. Link can be found down below in the description for that. But for our final prop, I am looking to take a stud here because we've kind of been talking about some mid-range players. So let's get a fun name. And we're looking at Stefon Diggs. He is at 87.5 yards for his prop. I like taking the over here. He's hit this number in 5 out of the past 5 games. Gets a matchup versus Cleveland, which they're kind of mid-pack versus the past, but they're awful versus the run this season. So again, it's just been a little bit easier to run on these guys. But cornerback Greg Newsome, former first-round pick, is going to be out this week. Got a concussion in Friday's practice. Yes, Denzel Ward has returned with his concussion the prior week, but this is still a matchup that Stefon Diggs can obviously beat. And we are no longer in the snow in Buffalo, although this game, I guess, could technically be in jeopardy of not being played. I guess they're still having some issues getting to the airport and leaving for Ford Field in Detroit. But assuming this game is good to go, we are in a dome, temperature-controlled climate. Everything's going to be good there, so don't have to worry about that. And I'm definitely going to take Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs over the Browns defense. I'm a Browns fan, as you can see in the corner there, but you know, it is what it is. Their defense, I can't really see them stopping them too much, and the volume that Diggs gets each and every single week is just too good. 10.5 targets per game, 8 catches, 110 receiving yards, close to a 30% target share, adding the fact that he's got one of the best quarterbacks in the game throwing the football. Yeah, I'll take that all day. And the Browns are currently 26th DVA versus the pass and allowing 150 receiving yards per game, specifically to the wide receiver position. He's my wide receiver 1 on the week, just edging out Justin Jefferson as far as DFS is concerned. But 87.5 yards, I think this number should be in the 90s, so I like getting a little bit of value there. With that being said, I think that'll be it for the video. If you did enjoy, make sure you have a like down below for me, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and leave a comment down below saying whatever you want to say because I have no control over you. But I'll get out of here. Wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you all next time.